When the internet began, bulletin board services, or BBS, became the first online communities of the so-called information superhighway. Using their phone lines, people logged in from all over America to talk about sports, games, movies, and on one BBS in particular, share their ghost stories. Over time, those communities all went dark, except for one lone server that continues to operate somewhere in an unknown part of Pennsylvania's Rust Belt. A relic of the 1990s, veiled in mystery, it is a digital archive of humanity's strangest encounters with the unknown, as told by the people who experienced them. My name is Brandon Schexnayder, and you are listening to Fear Daily.
Subject: Good Boy. User: YYZ123. Posted May 10, 1998.
I found Charlie the day the ink dried on my divorce papers. I was sitting outside St. Dominic's with a gas station coffee and a hangover that felt like penance, and that mutt trotted up like he'd known me his whole life. Dusty brown coat, one ear bent, and these gold eyes that didn't look like they belonged to a dog. No collar, no leash, just sat there in front of me and waited. Didn't bark, didn't beg, just looked. So I said, all right, and opened the passenger door. He hopped in without hesitation, and he's been mine ever since. We moved into that sad little rental off Holloway Lane the next week. You know the kind. Yard too big, gutters half hanging off, a mailbox leaning like it's tired of getting bills. I didn't care. It was cheap, quiet, and no one asked questions. Charlie liked it too. Spent hours sitting in the yard, ears perked like he was listening to something I couldn't hear. He never barked at squirrels or cars, and only once when the toaster caught fire and once when I slipped on the basement steps. Honestly, it saved my ass both times. I started calling him Lassie, half joking. "You're a weird one, Charlie," I told him once. He blinked slow, like he agreed. Mid-October rolled around and the leaves started falling like the sky was peeling back. I was out front with a rake and a sore back trying to make the place look a little less abandoned when Charlie froze on the porch, ears forward, tail stiff. And then he bolted straight to the big oak tree at the back of the property. I dropped the rake and followed, thinking maybe it was a raccoon or something, but when I caught up, he was already digging, furious, like something was trying to climb out. I shouted, but he wouldn't stop. Dirt flying everywhere, claws hitting roots and rock. I grabbed his collar and pulled just enough to see what he was after. There was a box. Old, metal, rusted shut. Took both hands and a screwdriver to crack it open. Inside were photographs, black and white, dozens. People I didn't recognize. Faces faded or scratched out. Some were posed, some looked like they'd been taken in secret. Dark corners, open windows, one of a child sleeping. But then I saw the last one, and my stomach dropped. It was me. Or at least someone who looked exactly like me, standing under that same oak tree, same eyes, same jaw, even the same faint birthmark on my neck, or his neck, or I don't know, but on the back, written in faint cursive, was October 12th, 1937. I looked at Charlie, and he looked back, dead calm. That night, the house felt different. Cold in places that should have been warm. Too quiet, like it was holding its breath. The kitchen radio crackled to life around midnight, static and old voices, like someone turning in from a place that didn't exist anymore. I unplugged it. At 3:17 a.m., I heard whispering in the vents. A woman's voice, soft and familiar, calling my name like she'd known it before I was born. Charlie stood in the hallway, motionless but alert, eyes locked on the grate. He didn't move all night. The next day, I found handprints on the bathroom mirror, small, like a child's. I hadn't had visitors. Then came the knocking. 3 soft taps on the bedroom window, same time every night. I never saw anyone out there, just darkness and the sense that something was waiting. Still, Charlie did not bark, did not growl. He just sat at the foot of the bed, watching. On the 4th night, I snapped, got out of bed, opened the bedroom door, and stepped into the hallway, and everything felt wrong. You ever walk into a room and know you shouldn't be there, like you've stepped out of time? Well, that's what it felt like. The hallway was longer than it should have been, lights flickering overhead like dying stars. At the far end, near the mirror, I saw myself, but not. Same face, same clothes, same tired eyes, but smiling. Too wide. I could not move, couldn't speak. But then Charlie shot past me like a bullet, snarling like I'd never heard before, deep and primal, like something ancient had crawled up through him. He leapt straight into the mirror. There was a flash. Not light, something else. Like lightning without thunder, and the glass shattered. That thing, me but not me, vanished. I woke up on the floor, heart pounding in my ears, and Charlie lay next to me, breathing hard, his fur matted with something dark like soot. His eyes were calm again, and he licked my hand once and wagged his tail. The mirror was cracked top to bottom. Nothing looked back from it now. I didn't ask questions. I didn't need to. I went and buried the box beneath the oak tree the next day, deep enough that I didn't hear it hit bottom. I bought new lights, replaced the mirror, and it didn't matter. Charlie still kept guard. Slept beside my bed, ears up, waiting. Sometimes I still see that smile in a reflection. Just a flash, like a ripple in still water, and not mine, not anymore. But Charlie leans into me when this happens, just enough to remind me I'm here. I'm still me, because that's what good boys do. They keep us safe from the things that look like us but aren't. They never ask for anything in return, just a pat on the head and a place by the door.
Subject, The Incident, Part 2. User, BeatR3P99. Posted, June 29, 2000.
There was a knock on my door last night. 3 soft raps, not demanding, not urgent, just polite. When I opened it, no one was there. The hallway was empty, but on the doormat lay the matchbook I'd thrown away 3 days ago, the same one that maintenance guy slid across the Waffle House table, still blank on the cover, still that one word written inside in shaky ink. Neil. I don't know why I wasn't more scared. I think fear breaks down after a while, gets worn out like everything else. You just accept that the world is shifting under you and try not to fall through. So I packed a notebook, my flashlight, a flask of cheap whiskey, and went back to the museum. No more sneaking this time. No more watching monitors or listening to secondhand stories. I was done circling the wound. It was time to step inside it. The loading dock door was still loose, but the keypad had been smashed. The wires inside were ripped out and crammed into the wall like they were embarrassed to still be connected to what waited beyond. I crawled through a broken window, bruised my hip, and landed hard on tile. The lights were on. Not all of them, just a few, humming low in the western corridor, flickering steady like they were nervous. The air smelled like melted wax and vinegar. Every sound died quickly in the room, like the space had been treated to reject echoes. I passed through the main exhibit halls, past tarp statues and hollow glass cases. The museum looked like it had been abandoned by the artifacts themselves, like everything inside had been too afraid to stay. And then I saw it. Gallery 9. This time the door was cracked open. Not wide, just enough to slip through if you were willing to scrape your shoulder and get your coat caught on a sharp edge. I stepped inside. There was no gallery. No displays, no velvet ropes, no track lighting, just stairs, old stone ones spiraling down into the dark, carved crudely and wet to the touch. As I descended, the air grew heavier, tighter. The walls pressed in. I counted 33 steps before the smell hit me. It was blood, yes, but also something else. The smell of old flowers left too long in the vase, of sweet rot, of memories that had gone bad. At the bottom was a chamber, circular, wide. The walls were old brick, uneven and sweating. In the center of the room was a pit, sunken into the ground and ringed by candles. Around it, kneeling figures. Dozens of them. Not praying, not rocking, just frozen. Folded forward with hands extended, heads bowed, blood pooled around their knees. At first, I thought they were wax statues, an exhibit, but then I saw one blink. Another shifted slightly, like someone shifting weight and sleep. These were people. Still alive, still breathing, dressed in formal wear, gowns and suits, leftovers from the donor gala. Then, one of them stood. He was tall, gaunt, wearing a ripped tuxedo jacket. His eyes leaked thin trails of blood. His mouth open, but no sound came out, just a long exhale, slow and warm like wind leaving a tomb. He looked at me and smiled. And that's when I saw it. The thing in the pit. It wasn't an object. It wasn't an artifact or sculpture or relic. It was a wound, a pulsing vertical slit in space, or flesh. I couldn't tell. Its edges were soft, wet, shifting, as though made of something that used to be alive. The symbols slithered across its surface, cycling every few seconds like it was remembering and forgetting names at the same time. There was movement behind it, something large, slow, pressing against the other side. I turned to run, but the stairs were gone. In their place, 3 of the kneelers had risen. Their faces were blank but grinning, eyes open, too wide, too long. "You're late," one of them whispered, "but it forgives." I bolted anyway, found a maintenance tunnel, crawled through half-flooded shafts that reeked of copper and mold. Something brushed my ankle, but I didn't stop to look. I surfaced in the coat room, coughing. Somehow, the air up there smelled like lavender and metal. My flashlight was gone, and so was my notebook, but in my coat pocket was something new. A photograph. The one I'd found taped under the reception desk, but it had changed. The same kneeling figures were there, but one in the back had its head up now, looking forward, staring straight at the lens. It was me. Back at my apartment, I tried to write, to get it all down. Document every detail, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I lit a candle, sat in silence, watched the shadows climb the wall. The longer I looked at the photo, the more it seemed to shift. The symbols on the pit began to move, not printed, alive, crawling, pulsing, and then I heard it. A voice, not from outside or not through the wall, but inside the room, inside me. "You saw it," it said. "Now you carry it." I dropped the photo and watched it catch fire from the candle. It curled into ash in the sink, but the smell didn't go away. It clung to the air like breath in winter. That night, I didn't sleep. In the morning, I once again found faint bruises on my knees, thin concentric rings like pressure marks from long kneeling. The symbols were written on my window in breath fog. I wiped them away, but they came back by sunset. I called every editor I knew, but no one picked up. I went to the paper's office, windows boarded, doors locked. A sign read, "Relocation in progress, no forwarding address." City Hall was empty. No receptionist, phones disconnected. At the diner on 3rd and Main, the waitress gave me a receipt before I even sat down. On the back, someone had written, "Back through the door, you forgot something." I should have left the city then, packed a bag, and disappeared, gone west or south or anywhere else, but it wouldn't have mattered, because I saw it, because I heard it, and now it knows my name.
Fear Daily is an independent podcast hosted by Brandon Schexnayder and written by Brennan Storr, with Joanna Smith serving as the consulting editor, audio production by Rachel Boyd, and sound design by Southern Gothic Media. This podcast is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents are either products of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or to real events or locations, is entirely coincidental. Ad-free versions of Fear Daily are available now on your favorite podcast apps. For more information, visit feardaily.com. But move fast, before the server goes offline.